All right, guys, welcome to our daily Zoom session. Today is Friday, January 11th. Today will be the last day of the week that we do the live Zoom session. We will resume it again on Monday. We're going to do our normal show. So we're going to do a two-part show. The first part is going to be strictly TA. So what I've done now is that I muted everybody so that while I'm going through the TA, I'm not interrupted with background noise. After the TA is complete, I will then start the second part of the show immediately, which will go into more TA and more requests from you guys, from my members, people here that are live. Also, you guys can participate by clicking on the raise hand button at the bottom of the participation box. If you click on there, it will alert my computer, and I will unmute you so you and I can have a conversation while everybody stays muted. So let's go ahead and jump into the coin market cap. Just let me minimize a couple of screens here. Let me move some things around. Okay, looking at coin market cap, we're sitting at $123 billion. Actually, almost $124 billion. And the 24-hour volume has dipped some more from this morning. It came down over $1 billion. It was, I believe, at $18 billion this morning. So now we're sitting at $17 billion. The top 10, you can see here where the red is now starting to turn into green very slowly. Yesterday's daily wrap show, most of these were 15 to 18% in the negative. So now we're starting to see a little bit of green, but we are still seeing very, very little low volatility. Let's take a quick look at the top three 24-hour gainers. Number one is Link, 16.39%. Number two is IOST at 12.42%, and R at 11.27%. With that, we're going to jump into Bitcoin and take a look at the 1 hour time frame. About 5 hours ago, I did the morning brief, and you can see not much has changed. The only thing I do like compared to this morning is that we've been able to sustain for the past 5 hours above the 9 EMA, which is a crucial area of support. We're starting to see a little bit of green volume coming in. However, the overall volume is still very, very low, and it's very even. The MACD is pointing bullish, but that's because of these small positive candles. I'm still not completely bullish because of because of the size of these volume bars here are still relatively low. So the RSI, you can kind of see the volatility on the RSI, really nothing. It's just been going sideways. It's sitting at a really good point, though. It's sitting at 44 points. So that gives us a lot of room to still get into the overbought area if Bitcoin decides to move up. If the indicators start to have positive crossover, so we have some more volume coming in and we have a crossover with the 30 EMA, we have a good chance to hit this 50 EMA, which would be our first major resistance point, which will put us back at about 36.83. As you can see here, if you look to the left, the 50 EMA was an area of very strong support. So we stood above the 50 EMA for quite some time. So I really would anticipate us getting rejected on the 50 EMA before we cross over it. It is the weekend. We're not seeing a lot of volume. So the chances of that are probably going to be pretty low. Tonight, when Asia comes online in about 4 hours or so, I think we'll have a little bit better idea of which way the market might go. But if we continue in this very low volatility and this low volume, chances are we're going to break down some further. We need some volume to stay above the current levels that we're in. If not, we're going to drop down another leg. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, we can see here where the MACD on the 4 hour time frame is starting to curve. Nothing major, nothing really to get excited. On the 4 hour time frame, the RSI looks much better. It's at 27 points. So it's really, really undersold at the moment. We're seeing a really nice J-hook pattern starting to form, which is, as you know, is a pretty bullish pattern, but we're still sitting up below the 9 EMA, which is not a good place to be, as sitting below the 9 EMA puts a lot of downward pressure on the price action. So we definitely still want to see that volume come in the lower time frames so that it can start trickling over to the higher time frames, and we start getting a little bit more of a bullish stance. Looking at the 12-hour time frame, we can see here the drop that we had yesterday, but we are still inside of this tight range. So let me just chalk out a couple of lines here to kind of to give you a little bit better perspective of what I'm talking about. So when you look at these moves to the upside and to the downside, they're really not a big deal when you look at the big picture, when you zoom out, because you can really see that all we did here is just to hit the bottom of this channel, that we hit here, that we've hit here, that we've hit here, and we've hit here. And when we went up the other day, a couple of days ago, it wasn't that big of a deal either, because we just barely made it to the top of this channel. We weren't even able to make it to the 100 EMA on the 12-hour time frame. The MACD, however, is showing you a much bearish stance, because remember, these are 12-hour indicators. So in the past 12 hours, not much has happened. And you can see here from the volume bars that the volume is diminishing here. So there's not a lot of movement going on inside of these 12-hour blocks. So we're looking very bearish on the higher time frames. On the one-day time frames, you can see here this pattern that we actually chalked out yesterday. One of my members was pointing this little wedge out. And more than likely, this looks like it's going to break down if we don't get some volume in soon. Being that it's the weekend, remember, guys, a typical weekend is a low liquidity weekend. Not that we cannot have it, but I'm going to lean more bearish than bullish on this particular setup here that I'm looking at, even including the smaller time frames. It's just not looking like a lot of volume is coming in. It's still a little too early to tell. We still have Asia that might swoop in at the last moment, being Friday, and maybe push us up a little bit, but it doesn't look too good at the moment. Looking at Ethereum, we are still underneath this resistance. As you can see here, when we fell, this area here was an area where we found some support. Then we lost this on the second leg down, and we've been unable to break this area of resistance. Even though we've been up and down below and above the 9 EMA, we're still not able to break this resistance. Now the 30 EMA is coming down to meet this resistance line. So this is going to be a really interesting place to see us break through, because we would not only be breaking through past resistance line, but we will also be breaking through the 30 EMA. So we're definitely going to have to watch out for this. The volume, however, again, is not looking very good. You can see here a downward trend in the volume. The MACD is pointing bullish, but again, I'm not too excited until I start seeing some more volume coming in. This kind of gives me like a false positive, because if you look at let me go back real quick. If you look at the indicators, yeah, they look good, but if you really take a look at the volume, without this, nothing happens. So it's kind of like a false positive in my opinion. Looking at Litecoin here again is looking a little bit better. It's starting, you can see where it's starting to fight with that 9 EMA, and it's starting to climb above it. Right now, we're currently below it. Every time it gets above it, after a few hours, it breaks back down. But we're starting to see this J-hook pattern again forming. We definitely need, just like everything else, we need a little bit more volume to come in to really start getting a more bullish stance on LTC. Looking at Tron, from this morning's video, again, we're breaking back down to the 200 EMA. I think there's a lot of FOMO going on with TRX, and for good reason. It had a really, really nice run up. People saw this. The people who missed out want a second chance. But remember, just because you want a second chance, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. You can see here, these are what I call FOMO candles. These are candles that people think, okay, it's starting to turn around. People start to FOMO, but the market is rejecting it. The market said, no, we're not ready. And a lot of the times, we have to take into account what Bitcoin doing is. Bitcoin is going sideways, guys. It's very difficult, no matter how good your project is or how good you think this project is. If the overall liquidity in the market is not there, it's going to be very hard to see this move, especially since there's no real big events going on right now with Tron. There was one last week that caused a lot of this run up, but right now there really is not. So just be really careful. You can see here where we're just trending down. We're going up a little bit, and we're getting smacked down, and we're landing back at this 200 EMA. So you guys just be careful. You take positions. Make sure you put your stop loss at least a little bit below this 200 EMA, just to safeguard your positions. Looking at ADA, ADA, again, very similar to Litecoin. It's starting to form this J hook pattern here. And it's actually starting to have a bullish crossover with the 9 and the 30. So we definitely need to see a little bit more liquidity to see a nice green candle. Now, again, just like I believe it was ETH, I want to see a break above the 50 EMA before I start taking more of a bullish stance. If this crosses, more than likely, we're going to see a rejection on the 50. And the reason I say that is because if you look to the left, the 50 was a strong area support. And remember the general rule with support and resistance. Anything that was very strong support becomes very strong resistance, and everything that's very strong resistance becomes very strong support. That's the general rule when you're looking at support and resistance. And typically, these EMAs, when price action reaches these bigger EMAs, they do tend to stop the price action before continuing to the upside. I'm not saying we cannot cross it, but it's a good point to look at if you're in this trade. If you're looking for an exit and you took this trade down here, obviously people did buy in here. If you're still after the two drops that it hasn't done much. It's just been pretty much very, very tight sideways action, not much going on. You have a little bit of an incline here, a bullish incline on the MACD, but look at this volume. It's just, if you take a look, let me actually chalk this out. If you really take a look at this volume here, I mean, you can just see it's just getting very, very, just getting lower and lower. These volume bars are just getting tighter and tighter. So I would wait for a break, at least a crossover or a break above this 50. If it can break above this 50 and the following candle opens up higher than the preceding candle, then maybe I would think about taking a position. We're still a long ways from breaking that point with this type of volume. So just be patient. This weekend might not be a very good weekend to go into trades. So just be very, very cautious on what you get into. Remember, guys, you don't have to trade every day. You have to learn how to recognize when is a good time to trade, when is not a good time to trade, and also look at BTC as well. If BTC breaks out, then we can go ahead and start taking some quick positions in some of these alts that have good setups, like the ones that I just covered. But for now, I would be very, very cautious in looking at taking any trades right now. Icon looks very good in the respect that it was able to regain that support of the 50 EMA. And I'm looking at the 30-minute. Let me look at the 1 hour time frame. No, it doesn't look as good in the 1 hour time frame. Well, it looks good in the sense that you have that J hook pattern again forming in a lot of these alts. So this is a bullish pattern, but the volume, again, look at the volume, guys, is just like everything else. It's just diminishing. It's just getting less and less. So you're really going to have to be patient. You're going to have to wait for some clear confirmation. And personally, clear confirmation for me would be breaking the 50 EMA on just about all of these alts are going to look about the same. Break that 50, wait for a bullish confirmation by looking at the following candle that opens, and then maybe taking a position on there. Look at ONT, guys. ONT looks really good. And look at the setup on ONT on the 1 hour time frame. Just like I've been talking about, a break of the 50, but look what happened here. The next candle did not give me that confirmation. So this is not a trade you should have taken. So this is the exact pattern that I'm looking at that I just mentioned in the previous altcoins. You want a clear break of the 50, but wait for the following candle to open up above the preceding candle for a bullish confirmation that would be a good area to take a trade on for the upside. This, however, did not give us a confirmation. And if you took this trade just on the break, you're right back down to here. So you guys, just like I said before, just be patient and hopefully things will turn for the best. If it doesn't, that's great. It gives us a little bit better chance to get some of these coins at cheaper prices. This concludes the first part of our TA. So I'm going to go ahead and open it now for our second part of the Zoom session, which is going to be for questions and answers. But you guys, hold on for 1 second, guys. I've got to move over here because my laptop is running out of battery. So I need to move over to this desk over here and plug in my computer before I run out of battery. Right here. Okay. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and move into the questions and answers. Now, before I start the questions and answers, just for some of the new folks that are joining us, in the bottom of your participation box inside of the Zoom application, you have a button called Raise Hand. If you click on that button, you can go ahead and post your questions to me live. As long as you have a microphone plugged in and you're unmuted, you can go ahead and give me your questions. If you're unable to speak, there's a chat box inside of the Zoom application that you can type in your questions there, and me or Mr. Mo will get to those questions one at a time, and we'll do our best to make sure that we answer all the questions before we end our Zoom session. So let me start by looking at the participation box here. I don't have any raised hands, so let me go ahead and look at the chat box and see if I have any questions in there. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me move something around here. All right, there we go. I got one from Anusha. Hey, BC, it seems to be no volatility coming weekend. Do you think we go sideways for a while? And I'm always confused what the accumulation price range is. Any thoughts on it would be greatly appreciated. All right, well, we're kind of, it really depends on your view on what accumulation is. I think personally, we're in that accumulation phase now. When you're buying, in my opinion, when you're buying Bitcoin at these prices, even if you're expecting a drop like I am down to 2,500, it's not 100% guaranteed. So for me, buying Bitcoin at $3,600, when you're looking, if you're a true believer and you believe that the bull run is going to come and we're going to go back to all-time highs and above all-time highs, then buying it at $3,600, I think is a phenomenal price. So like I tell all my members, you have to find the price that you're going to be comfortable with. What I don't want you to do is buy Bitcoin for the long term and start putting a 5% stop loss or a 10% stop loss, or even worse, put a 20% stop loss because it's going to drop. So what I want you to, that's not what accumulation is. Accumulation is you buy at a price that you're comfortable with. If it drops some more, you buy some more. If it drops further, you continue to buy some more. That's accumulation. Because if you're buying at this price and you're not mentally prepared and it drops 500 bucks and you sell, you now lost all of that Bitcoin that you could have had for accumulation. So you have to make sure you know the difference between accumulation and trading. If you're trying to trade, that's different. Then you can put a stop loss. But if you're trying to accumulate, I would not personally put a stop loss if I'm trying to accumulate at these prices when you're looking at a 1,000, 1,500, even possibly 2,000 ROI on Bitcoin. And I really do believe that we're going to surpass all-time high. Even if we don't, I mean, it's still going to be about a 6.5, about 650% increase at these current prices. So that's still an amazing ROI to risk it dropping another 30, 40%. That wouldn't bother me whatsoever. I hope that answers your question. Actually, I'm sorry, I bought my foot off the cam. Okay. Happy in my trade, sold and rebought at 350 in good position now. No requests for those. I meant. Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. Oh, good job, Jose. I'm glad you made some profit on that. Link is popping again. All right, great. So we've got Crypto Surfer is letting us know that Link is starting to pop again. Let's take a look at Link, guys. Give me 1 second here. Come on, let me refresh my page. I've got a lot of tabs open, so sometimes my computer doesn't. Wow, look at Link go. Yeah, nice. All right. So for those who believed in Link, and for those who follow Link, and for those who bought in here, congratulations. For those who are thinking of getting in, do not get in. You've missed the bus. So never chase these green candles. Don't be the guy who buys these wicks. Now, for those who are in, let's look for some targets for some exit trades. Remember, my system is using EMAs for targets. So I'm going to go to these higher time frames here. Look at this beautiful completion of this W pattern. Very, very nice completion, but be very careful for that pullback. This has actually blown through all the EMAs. So at this point, you're going to be very, very cautious in finding an exit. So at this point, what I would do personally, I'm going to start looking for these MACDs and these RSIs. Right now, Link is doing phenomenal. Let's look at the order book and see if there's enough. Okay, there's a lot of people FOMOing in. You can see here, all these people are people who are FOMOing in who want to buy, but there's nobody selling right now. So the price is going to stay stagnant until we get some sellers to feed into these buyers to bring that price higher. At this point, if no sellers come in, guys, people are going to start getting a little bit nervous and they're going to start taking profit. So you want to be very, very careful that this doesn't happen. You get one of these wicks. Now, also, remember what I tell you guys, when the price action starts to create this space between the 9 EMA and the current price action, you start seeing that come down. This is a perfect example. Look how far the price action got here, off the 9, and then what happened? Profit taking came. It came all the way back down here, and then again, when it found the support, it jumped up again. So be very, very careful. You might want to move your stop loss a little bit high on this one here to protect some of these profits if you're inside of this trade. Also, we are in the overbought. We're in the overbought conditions here on the RSI. We're at 83 points, and the MACD is starting to reach pretty high levels. If you look to the left, I mean, it could definitely go some more, but be cautious. Ride your stop losses up higher. We don't know when this is going to start coming down. It has blown, like I said, past all the EMAs for resistance. So at this point, I would ride my stop loss up just to be cautious. Let's look at the chat box here. NXS mainnet launch on January 31st. So it's something to look at if you're thinking of getting into NXS. Let's look at Go. We have Light. One of the members here, Light, is requesting Go. I believe that's Chainlink, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see on BTC. Come on. There we go. Is this Chainlink? Let me move this out of my. Oh no, this is GoChain. GoChain. Oh, Chainlink is Link. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Duh. Obvious. Okay, so not much going on here with Go. Go looks just like all the other altcoins that we're just talking about. It's been fighting that support and resistance on the 9 EMA. The MACD here is in the bearish side of the oscillator with plenty of room to go. RSI is kind of telling you the story right now. There's not much going on. It's at a good position at 41 points, but it's fighting with that. It keeps on getting rejected with that 9 EMA. So I would definitely wait for a clear break of the 50 EMA with a confirmation opening. After it closes above the 50 EMA, wait for the confirmation before taking a position. Here is a perfect example, guys. So it broke above the 50 EMA, it closed, and then this candle started to form higher than the preceding candle. This would have been a great spot to take that position. That's what I want you guys to do if you guys want to take a position in this one. Wait for this exact same pattern before you go into a position with Go. In my opinion, you guys can do whatever you want, but that's when I would be taking the position if I was playing Go. Fuel and PO. All right. Let's look at Fuel. Okay, Fuel doesn't look too good. You can see here again that 50 EMA is going to be the EMA to look for in almost all of these alts. Rejection could not break through, coming back down to the 9. Same thing applies to this one as we just finished covering with Go. Let me look at PO. Same exact analysis. Not looking very good. Well, I mean, looking just like everything else. Not looking bad, not looking good. We're kind of here in this area on the 9. A clear break of the 50 with confirmation would be a good position to take with PO to play it safe than buying it here and risking another leg down. Let me look at the chat box. BC, do you think this will go until SEC reviews ETF, this market? I mean, yeah, I think so. I don't think there's much going to be going on. I think we're going to be staying inside of these ranges of 3,200 and 4,000 until we get some indication of what's going to happen with the ETF, the Van Wyck ETF, on February. I think is 9 or 19th, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't exactly know when. Light wants me to look at Steam. Okay, same thing for Steam, just like everything else. Wait for the break of the 50, confirmation, then going in. It doesn't look like a place where I would want to take a position in right now. All right, guys, I don't have any more requests and I don't have any hands raised, so we're going to go ahead and end the session. Remember, guys, we have a lot of those gap charts that I put down inside of the Discord. I put about 35 gap charts on there. I will continue to do so, but it kind of gives you a story that we have a lot of gaps to still be filled on a lot of these coins, which has given me the reasoning behind the fact that I really do believe that we're going to go down to 2,500. So just be very cautious. If you're trying to accumulate, guys, remember this price and 2,500, both great prices to start accumulating Bitcoin when you're looking at the upside. Mr. Mo, do you have anything you want to add before I close the show out?
Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy, yes. And we will see you guys on Monday.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Oh, one other thing, guys. I'm going to be discontinuing the daily wrap show, the recording. There's not much interest. I can follow how many views I get, and I'm only getting a few views, to be honest with you. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of editing and a lot of stuff in the background to post those videos. And if nobody's really interested in those videos, there's really no point in me posting those. Where I do get a lot of interest is on the morning briefs and on the Zoom sessions. So we're going to continue the morning briefs, the Zoom sessions, and if Bitcoin does anything crazy, then if it's 6, 7 o'clock in the evening time, my time, then I'll do a video or I'll jump on a Zoom session with you guys. But the regular daily wrap up show, I'm not getting much interest, so I'm going to discontinue those until I see some more interest in me making those videos. All right, guys, have a great weekend and be safe out there. Okay, stop the recording. Let me look at the chat box. Dollar Hang.